From Martine Studios in New York, your trending topic TV show. This is Talking Heads with Nizam.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Talking Heads. We're hanging out with a great panel today. I have Mr. Tim Deary. I have Mr. Daniel Joseph and Joey Rockstar. And we are going to jump right in because you know it's my favorite topic, subject. What are you watching, Tim? Let's talk about it.
Well, I kind of took it back to 1994.
Yeah.
So I'm watching Ken Burns' baseball. It's an 18-hour documentary about baseball.
Ken Burns. Is he related to Monty Burns?
No. Well, maybe he does that in the editing room. I'm not sure.
What is that about? I haven't even heard of that.
Well, actually, I got into the Ken Burns thing because they just showed the Roosevelts on PBS.
Okay.
I know I'm looking like a huge nerd right now, but it was really interesting, and I didn't know like so many things about Teddy Roosevelt and FDR. So then I was like, oh, right, he did a baseball documentary. I think that was probably one of his most famous ones. And the baseball playoffs are starting. And I just got into that mode where I just started watching it. And
what's it called again?
What was it? Baseball. Yeah,
baseball.
It's baseball.
Oh, that's easy. That's easy.
Yeah. It's just, literally just about baseball. It starts in the 1800s and goes up to. They actually came up with one called the 10th inning. So it's broken down by innings. Like pretty much each inning is a decade for the most part.
Oh, that's cool.
So,
that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So baseball fans out there, jump on baseball.
Yeah, it's MLB
by
playoffs.
Ken Burns. Mm-hmm. All right. Dan, what about you? What are you watching, man?
Ray Donovan, Masters of Sex. Hey.
Yeah, Showtime.
Showtime. Hey, gotta give him some love. Hopefully, he can send a check my way. That's it.
Ray Donovan. I haven't gotten on it yet, but everybody's talking about it.
I'm telling you,
Great show.
Liam Shriver. It's a perfect role for him. He doesn't have to speak that much. It's all about his attitude. That's well casted. Manolo, I'm glad he's still working. I haven't seen him in much of anything. But honestly, it's a great cast. Definitely worth watching.
And Masters of Sex, too.
Masters of
Another
Sex.
Showtime.
Another Showtime show.
Talk about a little bit about what that's about, because I don't know. It sounds like something else.
It's about a doctor. Well, it's a doctor who's doing a study of sex and how it affects the human body and women during like the 1950s.
So this really happened, right?
This is
based on a true story?
It's loosely based on a true story. We don't know exactly really what went on. I don't even know if it's the real names of the characters, to be honest with you. But it just pretty much shows the little details and how prudent, I guess, America was, or it still is, but America was back then towards sex and what women could take from it and how it was just male dominant. So
yeah. I mean, I knew what was going on. Masters of Sex. I know. Joe, what are you watching, man?
Do I say the cliche Sons of Anarchy? I have to.
Still? I thought it was over. Is last final season?
This is the final season, and they have done some interesting things with the characters. They've taken some dark turns, and they're really setting up for some powder keg explosion. They're really just messing with all of the relationships and all of the interactions between the different gangs and whatnot, and it's getting to a head, and it's gonna explode very soon.
What about new shows? Any new shows you got?
The Strain. I got into The Strain.
Is that the vampire thing?
Yeah, I like Guillermo del Toro.
Okay.
A lot of the movies and different things that he's been
always
involved.
Does like something wacky, crazy, right?
And he decided to take on horror. And he did a pretty good job. It started off slow, so if anybody out there is going to watch it and get into it, on demand and whatnot, it did start off slow. Give yourself 3 episodes, and then you'll start. Okay. It'll pick up because an outbreak happens, but you see the framework of the outbreak and how it gets, and then you get into the Walking Dead-esque outbreak kind of thing. But
all right. Del Toro, wasn't he in one of those crazy movies, and he was strung up on something or
Well, he's the director-producer. He did Pan's Labyrinth, Hellboy.
You're thinking of Benicio del
Toro. You're thinking of
Benicio del Toro. Okay,
Guillermo del Toro did Pan's Labyrinth, Hellboy, Hellboy 2, a couple other very visually entertaining movies.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, well, I am all over a couple shows right now. Scandal's back. checking that out. Scandal. You know, my girl Olivia and Quinn. I love Quinn. That's my girl. And How to Get Away with Murder. I'm checking that out. Okay. 2 episodes in on that. That's pretty good. And winter's coming. I can't wait. Game of Thrones.
That's a little bit ways away, though.
It is a ways away, but I'm excited, man. I'm like...
Could have said Walking.
Huh?
Walking Dead is Sunday.
Walking Dead is Sunday? Why didn't you guys say that?
Well, because we're not watching it yet. You're excited.
Well, I'm saying I'm excited. I'm excited for that. But all right, well, let's get into the show. Dan, I'm going to start with you. So, out in the world right now, there's an app for this. It's called Good to Go.
Good to Go.
When you're out with a young lady or possibly a young man, and you want to have relations or be a master of sex, you have to get this person to join the app, or you put your number in or something, and they have to have consensual sex before you can do the deed.
It sends the
phone number or whatever.
Yeah, the person puts their phone number in to whoever's app it is. It sends the information to their phone, and then they confirm from their phone that it is their phone. And then I think there's 2 or 3 other steps that you have to check that you're drunk or mildly intoxicated or heavily intoxicated.
Doesn't anyone just get laid anymore?
I don't think so.
Just straight up.
Dan, what's your take on this, man?
I honestly believe that it's technology taking over at its best. I don't know how anyone is going to explain to a judge after an encounter, but it was consensual. It says it on my phone app. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. But you know what? They invent anything. People are going to make money off of anything nowadays. So they put this thing out there. I mean, in theory, I can see what they were doing. Like, like just making sure, like, I guess friends to friend, But when it comes down to anything else, it's not going to fly. But that's not. I downloaded it just to see it. See how it works.
Sure you did.
I read Playboy for the articles.
Some good writers in there, man. I'm just saying. But I'm just saying that what I saw from the app, I see a lot of teenagers using it. I mean, it might pass with a couple of friends, but I don't see it being used for any longer.
I was scared to have you boys on this show. Joe, how you feel about the Good to Go app, man? I like the name.
I think I'm torn because I feel like in certain situations, it might be a huge buzzkill. If you're like, you're hanging out, you're having a good time, you're like, oh, this girl's into me, I might be able to go home and have a good time with her. And then you're like, all right, you want to hang out? You want to go back to my place, watch a movie? And she's like, yeah. And then you're like, but first. And then she's just going to be all, I don't know about this guy. I was thinking about it, but now I'm donezo.
I wasn't thinking more of like a prenuptial agreement.
Yeah, the prenuptial.
But I was thinking more of like, you're already in a situation to where it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And just to make sure, because you saw a couple of friends might have saw you walking with the stumbling girl, you want to make sure that you got it down that, we both consented on this through this app. So if she can actually dictate it through the app.
So to speak.
Then...
And the question is, like you said before, how much is it going to hold up in court?
Seriously. I mean, she could be half drunk, passed out, or he could be.
We'll go with they.
Well, they, yeah.
Exactly.
The person could be,
the couple,
and I have that person's phone, or she has my phone.
What if it's more than one? Is there an option for that on the?
Oh man, Tim, what are your thoughts on this, man?
Oh man, what girl is putting this on her phone though? I don't,
You never know. I'm just saying. I'm trying to be universal.
This is some guy invented this, right? This has to be a guy's invention, and I don't see too many girls. I don't see it being successful. Because I don't see a lot of girls.
Well, look how successful it is. We're talking about it right now.
Yeah,
I think that's more shock value now. I don't know.
Oh man, let's keep this moving. Let's keep it in the same realm. Joe, I'm going to pose this to you. There's a new invention out, I guess. Mm-hmm. It's called Undercover Colors.
Right.
And basically, it's a nail polish. And a girl can put her finger in her drink, and if her nail polish changes colors, there's some type of roofie or date rape drug in her drink, and then she can
get rid of the foam in her beer.
Yeah.
Right? and that's their nose grease. I'm sorry.
I mean, this is like a great thing for women, right, Joe?
I think it's great. I think it was getting a lot of consistency issues, like the certain drugs that I read about it when I text messaged you earlier, like, what the hell are you talking about? it's not a real science yet. I think they came out with a great idea, but it doesn't detect all of the possible situations and drugs that could create a date rape situation. So maybe these girls are like, oh yeah, sweet, good to go, and then so
maybe it takes like 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Like,
I think this is a first generation of technology that may need a little bit more working. I mean, the idea is fantastic. And anyone should have any form of protecting themselves and should be able to get it. I mean, it's pretty cool. But as far as functionality, I think they're a little bit ways before sending it out there.
Is this really good? Like, you have a daughter, or 2 or 3 or 4.
I mean,
would you be like, hey, baby, don't forget to put on your Undercover Colors?
That's her choice, and I wouldn't like her to be hanging out in places where that might be a possibility, obviously. But I mean, college kids. I think college kids is the main target demographic. College girls going out to all different parties. You're not going to stop that. Like, that's impossible. It's like turning off the sun. It's just not going to happen. They're going to go to parties. They're going to hang out with people they don't know. So in that situation, I think it's a positive.
What about you, Tim? What do you think?
It's America. You can make your money how you want. Like if that business goal works for them and they wind up selling products and it does help some people, I don't see it being that helpful in the long run. Like just if you're in that situation, I don't know how much nail polish is going to save you. You got to like just run.
Yeah. Right?
Maybe give them a treadmill instead. And
Dan, what are your thoughts, man?
My thoughts. This is a perfect advertisement for the Good to Go app.
They should collabo up and
make sure you consent first and then do it. I was reading about this and they said that there was I'm getting a lot of flack from a couple of women organizations because it doesn't really prevent the problem. It's just making people a little bit more aware. They were saying that they appreciate the steps to it, but they really want to act more on prevention than finding out whether or not it shouldn't happen to begin with, So they want to get more to the drug matter rather than having girls, protecting themselves by dipping their fingernails into drinks, which shouldn't be the case anyway.
Exactly. Yeah.
Honestly, if that was the case, the glass should have something on it that would detect whether or not it had something in it. Women shouldn't have to go and buy a specific nail polish or colors or whatever they have to buy just to make sure that they feel safe in a club or in a night in a bar. Or something.
It's my thing is they're not spies. They shouldn't have to be looking over their shoulder all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like there's jerks out there that do this crazy stuff, and it's on one hand, yeah, it's a cool idea or whatever. But at the same time, yeah, why are you in those situations? And maybe you just don't know. He could be the nicest guy in the whole wide world, and he slips a roofie in your drink.
Yeah. Maybe it's like the party equivalent of carrying pepper spray, though. You don't necessarily want to use it, but it doesn't hurt if you're feeling a little unsafe to have it in your hand when you're walking in your car. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just they'll throw it on when they're going out. They don't want to use it. They don't plan on being in a situation where it comes up. What the hell? Like, if it can save you and help you, then...
But it's forcing these women that anytime they go out to a club or a bar to use this nail polish.
I think Joe had a really good point with the college. I remember college, and college was crazy, and college was like the 70s.
Thousands of people in the same place.
just frat parties and stuff like that. Depending on the size of your school and stuff like that, you may see someone at a party that you may never see again for the rest of your 4 years. So. I think to an extent, I'm on the fence with it, but because that could be something that could be really effective because you are out and some of those guys, some of those predators or whatever, those are the type of guys that count on being in a big school and being a number instead of being a real face or a name.
One other thing is these guys who are creating this are opening themselves up for a lot of lawsuits. Like I said earlier, the functionality wasn't rock solid, so there was a few other drugs that could slip through the cracks as far as their detection goes.
Right.
So now that they're marketing it as a deterrent or detection system, and then say something bad does happen to a young lady that was using the product. Now where do they sit? They sit there going, "Oops,"
Well, I mean,
there goes their business.
That's innovation, and that's the cost of doing business. Anytime you do business, you're taking a risk of, maybe a lawsuit, or maybe just not being able to pay your bills and having an unsuccessful business or whatever. I don't know. It's a topic. It's a topic for a conversation. It's definitely a conversation piece. I want to keep it moving. So this is kind of an old story, but it's still something kind of relevant you can talk about. There was a 9-year-old girl who was on a driving range, and she killed the instructor. She had an Uzi. It's one of those out in the Las Vegas area. You pull off the highway. There's a shooting range. It's almost like an amusement attraction. And, the girl had an Uzi in her hand, and I guess pulled the trigger, sprayed, and killed the instructor. Tim, we're going to go back to you. How do you feel about this situation?
Oh, that's a tough one, man. I don't know why you're putting that kind of artillery in the hands of a 9-year-old. That's the first point, and I don't know. Just I don't know exactly what had happened. It fell and then it shot off, or
she couldn't handle the recoil.
She couldn't handle the recoil,
and then it kind of
went up and over her head.
Right. She shouldn't be having that kind of gun.
9 years old.
Yeah, there's got to be some kind of age limit, I think.
Is 9 years old too young, or
Absolutely.
Is a Uzi the wrong weapon to have?
Combination of both
in someone's hand.
I would agree.
Unless you're military or maybe like SWAT, even like police. Why would you
automatic
have
weapons? We don't. I mean, they're illegal to have. Pretty much. I mean, so. I understand that these are attractions. You go out there, like someone said to me earlier, that you can fire bazookas off in these places.
You can. They have permits.
So, I mean, I understand the attraction of it, and it's just that the instructor, I'm not faulting the instructor, but what I read from it is that he helped her shoot it the first time, saw how she was handling it, and then felt comfortable with it and stepped back and said, "Go ahead." And then when she shot it off again, the recoil went off and shot the guy, in the head. Now, reading this article, the only thing that I took off of it, I felt actually bad for the family, because
the family of who?
The family of and it sounds weird, but the family of the little girl, because the guy's a major hedge fund manager of some. Well, he managed hedge funds for some major company. He's worth a lot of money. And that's all they've been saying about it, like the silver suit that this guy's he's gonna be hit with, but no one's looking at it as the family of the victim, or the 9-year-old that has to live her whole life knowing that because of a mistake, something that she was having fun with, something that she saw her dad did, that's gonna be with her for the rest of her life. The only thing they're thinking about is money in this thing. So,
what are you feeling, Sean?
I think it's a combination of a few things. I mean, the guy was apparently a very trained individual. He made a poor judgment call at that moment. I think the age was too young. I think 9 may be too young to be handling a firearm, let alone an Uzi. So then you said the combination of the age, a poor judgment call by the trainer or the supervisor, and the choice of weapon. I mean, it's a perfect storm of bad came together and created the situation that's awful. I wouldn't let my 9-year-old handle an Uzi. Do I think that maybe she should understand the concept of the danger of firearms? Yeah, I think she's still too young to come with me to the shooting range. Yeah. I mean, I go shoot skeet. I don't think I'm going to bring her. I think 12, 13 might be more of an age where, that's a better time to maybe teach them if you want to. And I also don't think an Uzi is the starting point.
Right.
A small caliber rifle. And then maybe by the 15, 16, if you have handguns and you want to teach them how to operate them properly, that would be the progression that I would see.
Yeah,
that would make sense.
I mean, my thing is like I have military family. I have police that are family. I just know people with guns. I went to school in the South, so they have guns. An Uzi, I just don't think should be in anyone's hands, legal or not legal. Are you going to shoot skeet with a gun, with an Uzi? Are you going to go hunt? Hit them all now. Are you going to hunt deer with an Uzi? You know what I'm saying? What is an individual who is not at war, going to do with an Uzi? Or a bazooka. You know what I'm saying?
Can't this kid use a water pistol?
Like everyone else.
But what was crazy is the mother was filming it. So they have the video of what actually happened. Just horrible when you sit there and look at it. Like, so the mother, it's like, I can understand the father looking at the daughter and saying, hey, pick up the gun and, you know, pop it off or whatever. But when the mother's sitting there like, go ahead, do this, like, then you're like, what's going on here?
You know,
like,
they talk about the wealth of this family, and maybe there's a detachment there too. You know what I'm saying?
They get
like
to do whatever they want.
Yeah, they're just rich, and you know, hey.
Like Beyonce and Jay-Z getting to go to Cuba just because they're rich.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go to Canada. That's it.
Well, I see what you're saying, though.
But
rich people get to do a little more elaborate things, so
and they have no concept of the consequences, because it's like,
well, I wouldn't sit there and say it like that, because nobody wants to really. That didn't really want to happen, and it's not like any ramifications could have come from that. You know?
Do you have any younger cousins or?
I have nieces.
Do you think that you would ever be out with your niece one time and if you had the opportunity, you would say, "Hey, girl, come here, check out this Uzi."
This Uzi.
Do you think? I mean, is that something that goes through your mind? Like maybe possible.
I get worried about boys' names that she repeats.
Exactly.
Like, excuse me.
Exactly.
You're 6 years old.
I don't know. It's for me. Uzi is just too much, man. But
it's hard to feel sorry for people when something like that happens.
I really feel sorry for the instructor, even though he made a bad decision. But it's just like, I kind of, if I'm the instructor and my dude walks up with his family and says, "Hey, my daughter wants to shoot this Uzi," I'd be like, "Are you sure?"
I'm feeling that 9 years old, I don't think you're legally allowed to handle any firearms anywhere, well, let alone if these places have permits or anything.
But he might have, slid something across the table, or he might have laced the palm a little bit. Who knows? Yeah, you know. I don't know. Well, let's move on. We can talk about this all day. I want to get back. I want to get to one more situation. Walmart and Tracy Morgan. I had a bad week. Undercover Covers, and that's another show. But, all right, so Tracy Jordan was in his shuttle limousine thing or whatever, and there was an accident with a Walmart tractor trailer. Tracy Morgan was in ICU for like a week, few days. Now it's coming out, and there's going to be a court case, and Walmart is trying to blame Tracy Morgan. Dan, why don't we start with you? How do you feel about that?
I feel that Walmart's not wrong at the time, and Tracy Morgan's not wrong at the time. It's one of those, areas of shades of gray that, it's going to be played out in the legal court, and then we'll see what happens after that. But yes, Tracy Morgan should have had a seatbelt on, but they were in a party bus.
Right.
Nobody ever has that on. They were stopped in traffic, and the sleep-deprived driver, all right, rammed right in the back of them. Regardless if they had their seatbelt on or not, they were having injuries. So one person died. Tracy Morgan broke his leg, a couple of ribs.
Might be still paralyzed a little bit.
No, he's walking. He had an interview out the other day, but it's just terrible that yes, he should have had a seatbelt on, but it's a sleep deprived driver over his hours. All right. Sucks in a way because Walmart shouldn't have to be. I mean, they're going to be liable for it because it's the Walmart truck, but this guy knew he wasn't supposed to be on the road at the time. He should have been off the road, parked somewhere, and not moving that vehicle. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I look at it more on the side of, Walmart's fault, but you can also look at it like, Tracy, you should have had a seatbelt on.
What about you, Tim?
Well, I'm curious as to why he was driving for so long. Was it, because I'm thinking about unions
truck drivers,
and whatnot.
Truck drivers, they get paid off how quickly you can drop something off.
Right. So, but is Walmart, there's no union in Walmart, right?
I have no clue how Walmart works.
I don't know how truck drivers work either.
And
it
Walmart,
could be a subcontractor
just because
Walmart.
If they encourage that behavior, just get as much done as quickly as possible, then it is kind of a little bit on Walmart.
Who in a business wouldn't?
Right, exactly.
But they have monitors on these trucks now. You're not allowed to do overnighters, like pull 2 days on the road. They have monitors on your truck that police officers can stop you.
But what's the penalty for that though? You can physically do it.
You can lose.
If you have a car with a breathalyzer in it, that vehicle won't start. You know what I'm saying? Like
someone else can blow it.
Yeah, but you can lose your job. You can get points on your license. You can they can put on you where you can't drive a truck after that anymore. So like there's ramifications after that you don't want to adhere to. If you don't stop the car, you can't go over those certain hours. I'm not gonna say it's illegal, but if you get caught, there's gonna be
ramifications.
Yeah, there's gonna be some really. Yeah.
I think that from what I know of the story, let's take it back down to insurance companies. If you hit anybody from behind, it's your fault.
Yeah.
And I don't always agree with it. There's certain situations where, if somebody cuts you off and slams on the brakes, how is that your fault like that? But in this situation, they were stopped. Nobody in a party bus is wearing a seatbelt. I know.
Do you wear your seatbelt in a taxi cab?
No.
When you sit in the back seat of your friend's car, like, of course, when you sit in the front, the thing, it goes off, so you put your seatbelt on. When you're in the back seat of a car, do you put your seat? If your kid's back there, you strap the kid in. But do you really?
Limousines. You get in a limo. I don't even know if they have seatbelts because I don't think I've ever seen anybody put one on in a limo.
Exactly.
I've been,
It's the cool thing to do. Hey, hold on, guys. Let me.
Yeah.
A couple dozen limos in my lifetime, and I'm sure I've never seen anybody put a seatbelt on.
It's really going to be interesting to see how this thing plays out with Mr. Morgan and the Walmart people. But we only have a minute or so left. I got to get into my second favorite segment. Do you care? You guys know how this works?
Yes.
If you want to explain, you can. If not, just give me a yes, no answer. So, got to start. Frozen. Do you care?
No, just the song. Oh.
Do you care?
Absolutely not.
Do you care?
I have two kids. I have no choice.
Frozen still going strong. All right. What else? All right. Dan, Kim Ye may be getting a divorce. Do you care?
No.
No.
No, and I get mad that other people do.
Tim, what do you think about Kim Ye?
Nah.
It might happen. It might not happen.
I'm mad he just called it Kim Ye.
First time I heard it. Just want to put that out there.
This is the first time you heard Kim Ye?
First time. I think you made
What's
that
wrong
up.
with y'all,
I knew
man?
what it was inherently. Same
All right,
thing.
I got all the boys.
Does she have the Good to Go app though?
I need to find that out. I'm gonna talk to my people. All right, I got the boys, so I had to go with this. Tom Brady's performance. Do you care? Giants fan?
Yeah, I am a Giants fan.
Do you care?
No.
Do you care?
Won me a fantasy football week. Yes.
You're a Giants fan?
No.
Who are you?
I'm a Dolphins fan. Oh, proud of it.
You should care about his performance then.
When you say his performance negatively,
saying his performance. Is his performance positive up until this point?
Oh, his performance sucks, and I'm very happy about it because I'm a Jets fan.
So you do care. You should care more. You should care more.
I was thinking fantasy football. My team's in a good position right now. I'm good.
All right. Steve Smith. Crazy Steve Smith. Yelling and screaming.
Yes.
Do you care about that, Steve Smith?
Awesome. Yes.
Steve Smith?
Good for him.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. All right, we do care about that. All right, guys, we got to get out of here. This is Talking Heads. You can check us out on Verizon 45, Cablevision 76, Friday nights at 8 p.m. We'll be back next week. Check us out. Bye-bye.